On March 4, 2025, President Trump announced the immediate suspension of US military aid to Ukraine. This decision sent shockwaves through the international community and raised concerns about the future of the conflict. President Trump cited President Zelensky's perceived reluctance to engage in peace negotiations with Russia as the primary reason for the suspension. This move marked a significant shift in US policy towards the ongoing conflict, leaving Ukraine in a precarious position. The suspension has ignited a debate about the future of US involvement in the region and the potential consequences for global security. The decision to halt aid has been met with criticism from both Democrats and Republicans. Many see it as a betrayal of a key ally at a critical juncture. Others, however, support President Trump's efforts to pressure Ukraine into seeking a negotiated settlement. The suspension has also raised questions about the administration's overall strategy in the region. Some experts argue that the move plays into Russia's hands, potentially emboldening further aggression. The suspension of US military aid has left Ukraine facing a significant funding gap for critical military equipment and supplies. The US has been a major supplier of weapons and ammunition to Ukraine since the conflict began. This decision could have immediate and long-term consequences for Ukraine's ability to defend itself against Russian aggression. The situation underscores the complexities of international relations and the delicate balance of power in Eastern Europe. The immediate impact of the aid suspension is being felt on the front lines. Ukrainian forces are now facing shortages of essential supplies, including ammunition and spare parts. This has forced commanders to ration resources and prioritize their use, potentially impacting their ability to hold back Russian-backed forces. The long-term consequences could be even more severe. Without a consistent flow of military aid, Ukraine's ability to sustain its defense operations will be severely hampered. The suspension of US military aid has also impacted Ukraine's intelligence gathering capabilities. The US has been providing Ukraine with valuable intelligence, including satellite imagery and signals intercepts. This information has been crucial for Ukraine to anticipate and counter Russian movements. Without access to this intelligence, Ukraine will be at a significant disadvantage in the conflict. The loss of real-time battlefield awareness could hinder Ukraine's ability to defend itself effectively. The suspension has also dealt a blow to the morale of Ukrainian soldiers. The US has been a steadfast ally, and the sudden withdrawal of support has left many feeling abandoned. This could have a detrimental effect on their fighting spirit, making them more susceptible to Russian propaganda and psychological warfare. The impact on morale extends beyond the military, as civilians in conflict zones also grapple with heightened uncertainty and fear. The international community has reacted with a mix of concern and condemnation to President Trump's decision. European allies in particular have expressed their dismay and urged the US to reconsider. The UK, France and Germany have all issued statements emphasizing the importance of continued support for Ukraine. However, it remains unclear whether these countries are willing or able to fill the funding gap left by the US. Despite the international outcry, President Trump has shown no indication of reversing his decision. He has repeatedly criticized European allies for not contributing enough to Ukraine's defense and has suggested that they should bear more of the financial burden. This has further strained relations between the US and its European partners, creating a rift within the Western alliance at a time when unity is crucial. The situation highlights the challenges of maintaining a cohesive international response to the ongoing conflict. In the wake of the US aid suspension, Ukraine is exploring alternative sources of support. Some countries, such as Poland and the Baltic states, have pledged to increase their military assistance. However, these contributions are unlikely to fully compensate for the loss of US aid. Ukraine is also looking to increase its domestic arms production, but this will take time and significant investment. The suspension of US military aid to Ukraine has created a dangerous precedent, signaling to adversaries that the US commitment to its allies can be unpredictable and unreliable. This could have far-reaching consequences for global security, potentially emboldening other authoritarian regimes to act aggressively against their neighbors. The situation has also raised questions about the future of the rules-based international order, which is already under strain from rising nationalism and great power competition. President Zelensky has responded to the US aid suspension by reiterating Ukraine's commitment to finding a peaceful resolution to the conflict. He has expressed a willingness to engage in negotiations with Russia, but only under certain conditions. These include a complete ceasefire, the withdrawal of Russian forces from Ukrainian territory, and international guarantees for Ukraine's security. However, it remains unclear whether Russia is willing to negotiate in good faith or whether it will use the US aid suspension to extract further concessions from Ukraine. The suspension of US military aid to Ukraine marks a turning point in the conflict, with potentially significant implications for the future of Ukraine, the region, and the broader international order. The situation highlights the fragility of peace and the importance of sustained international cooperation in addressing complex global challenges. As the situation continues to unfold, the world watches with bated breath, uncertain of what the future holds for Ukraine and the balance of power in Eastern Europe.